What would Americans say if they could not travel from New York to Los Angeles? Or, for example, what would English say if they could not travel from London to Manchester without a passport or police officer at their heels? In fact, many people is not enough grateful to God for their national privileges. Hello, my name is Olga, and today let's talk about passport and how much they are powerful in our life. For most of the history, passports wasn't so routinely used. In fact, it was some kind of letter from a powerful person, someone who will meet the traveler, just let him pass smoothly or else. It never been something super important in the life of the people. Passport protection was mostly a privilege but not a necessity. As the 19th century progressed, railway and steamboats made travel faster and cheaper. On that time, passports was totally unpopular. France's Emperor Napoleon III were considering passports as an oppressive invention, which prevent people from free travel and just creating some extra conditions. Passports were abolished by France in 1860. In 1890s, you can easily travel to America without any passport, even it was a bit helpful if you were white. In some South American countries, free passport travel was at all written in the constitution as a basic right of their citizens. By the beginning of 20th century, there were just a couple of European countries which were still insisting for the citizens to have passport to enter or leave the country. And it was all looking like the passport thing will disappear soon and will not be anymore a case at all. In September 2015, Abdallah Kurdi, his wife and two young sons boarded a rubber dinghy on a beach of Bodrum, Turkey. They hoped to make it 4 kilometers through the Aegean Sea to the Kos island of Greece. But the sea became rough and the dinghy capsized. Abdallah managed to climb to the boat, but his wife and children drowned. The body of his youngest son, 3 years old Alan, washed up on Turkish beach, where it was photographed by a Turkish agency journalist. The image of Alan Kurdi became the icon of the migrant crisis that had convulsed Europe all summer. The story that these guys didn't plan to live in Greece. Actually, they need just to make it to Canada. But because they don't have any passports, while the country where they used to live, Syria, they never issued passports to Kurdish. And even if they would carry Syrian passport, they could not make it either to Canada. And the fun fact that this guy Abdallah, he paid about $4,000 to some smugglers to just let them go on this dinghy and try to cross these 4 kilometers of the sea, while actually he could afford to buy a plane ticket to all his family and fly comfortably to Canada. So it is natural fact that the color of our passport determines where we can travel, where we can work, and where we can stay, well, at least legally. In fact, today in modern society, we are fighting for every person to not be discriminated based on the characteristics that he cannot change. For example, is he male or female? Is he white or black? Is he gay or straight? Young or old? But at the same time, everybody is somehow discriminated by their citizenship, while actually your access to the passport is determined where you were born and what was the identity of your parents. And I would even say that identity of your parents, it's the key point, because even in majority of modern European countries, if you're born on the country, you will not get citizenship of this country by birth. By the way, just in Ukraine you still can do that, but not in majority of the countries. So in fact, you can be born in the country, live all your life in the country, and for some reason you will not be able to obtain citizenship of this country based on some kind of laws. Access to work, to some social care, to other services will be so much limited just because the identity of your parents were not the right one. But you know, regardless which passport you're carrying today, if you would like to meet a Ukrainian girl, you always have great chance to meet her in your own country by meeting Ukrainian societies and engaging into Ukrainian communities. As well as you can search for her online, and I recommend you the website Ukraine Brides Agency, because here you can search for the girls which is currently in Ukraine or based on the country of their residence right now, because because of war, so many girls moved outside. You can check the link in the description. I would like to say a few words about stateless people, because many people know that there is something called stateless, but they have no idea how a person can appear to be without any citizenship. So just let you understand the world better, I will give you a few real examples. One of the example, person was having a Soviet passport, and in the moment when Soviet Union collapsed, the person didn't obtain another passport for a reason or another. So for example, if you want to talk about some Ukrainian who was living in Ukraine in the moment when Soviet Union collapsed, yes, this person had full right to get Ukrainian passport and live normally in Ukraine. But for example, if the same Ukrainian person was living in Latvia, for example, on that moment, Latvia would not provide them passport unless they will pass language test of Latvian language, constitution, and some other restrictions. And this is fine, you can do it, but for some reason you may not do it, or actually your parents didn't do it, so they end up to be stateless people with the right to reside in Latvia, but they will not have passports, they will not be able to travel, and for foreign countries they will be considered stateless people. And their kids, if they are born in the country which doesn't grant citizenship by birth, they will be also considered stateless, even that you was just in the wrong place in the wrong time. Another example of stateless people are Palestinians. You know that Palestine got war with Israel back in 1945, and so many people left Palestine to the neighboring countries. And neighboring countries, none of them is given citizenship by birth or by living for so many years or so on. And dead people who is actually dead, or granddad of people who is nowadays living in those countries, they wasn't able to obtain citizenship, their kids wasn't able to obtain citizenship, and their grandkids remain stateless till nowadays, and they are not able to obtain any citizenship, they are not allowed to travel anywhere, they are not allowed to work in most of the jobs just because they have stateless status. And again, their stateless status is related to the country where they were born. If this country doesn't grant citizenship by birth or by living, you will end up having no country. And this is, guys, very scary, because if you can think that you are living in some country where you are renewing residence every year, and every year the government is making you more and more problems, and one day they will say, you know what, we don't need you anymore in the country, go, and you literally have no place to go, not just no house to go physically, you actually have no country to go. And this is very crazy situation. So how did we end up with all these passport problems? As if I said in the beginning of video, they was gonna be totally disappeared in the beginning of 20th century. The reason was the First World War. The First World War made a lot of obligations on the government to start checking identity of the people, restrict them to travel, make more control over the movements of society, and this is how the passports start getting more and more introduced again. In 1920, the newly formed League of Nations called an International Conference on Passport, Custom Formalities and Through Tickets, and that effectively invented the passport as we know it today. From 1921, a conference said passports should be 15.5 centimeters by 10.5 centimeters, 32 pages, bound in cardboard with a photo. The format changed so much since that time. But till nowadays, everyone with the right color of the passport can just count his blessings. After watching this video, you start thinking how lucky you are with your passport. That would be very great, and I would appreciate a comment from you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you would like to see similar videos in future. Bye bye!